Well, hi, Whitney. Maddie and I are out on the back of the property, and what we're doing is we're actually out here hunting up something for you. What we're planning on doing is finding us the right piece of wood so that we can make a walking stick for you, so that when you get down here to visit us in June, we can take that walking stick with us and maybe need it to snag things or hold things up, or just balance ourselves as we're walking through some of the terrain we're going to be walking over. And if nothing else, it's just a good device to have along with us. Anyway, let's see what we're going to find, okay? I'm thinking for your height, weight, reach, that something possibly about the size of my thumb, get a good shot at it there, about that big around, might be good. And I just came up on a little sapling here. It's a little oak sapling. Got another one over here. Looking at these two guys. Let's see. That was kind of interesting there. Yeah, let me show you what I'm seeing. Alright, there's the sapling right there. Get in there. And if you're looking at it from bottom to top, if I can do this, light's kind of getting dim out here right now. It's kind of late in the afternoon. Oh, got me a little tick walking on my arm. Goodbye, tick. He's now been ground into dust. Anyway, you can see this one's kind of interesting because he's got all these little bends and nooks and crooks. I think I'm going to take him. Alright, so I got to figure out how I'm going to put the camera down so you can watch me take him. Okay, there's a lot of these little guys in here, so thinning one out is actually doing the others a favor. That's part of management. So there's Miss Maddie. Hey Maddie, want to say hi to Whitney? Say hi, Whitney. Yeah, she's already been walking in the water. Anyway, I'll be right back. I just got to set the camera somewhere where you can see me when I harvest this piece of wood. Okay? Okay, we're going to try and take that piece, and first thing I got to do is I got to get my saw off my pack. Boy, I love this pack. Good pack, really good pack. Okay, I put this thing on there pretty good too. All right, put it on there, so it's got to come off. There we go. All right, get this out the way. All right, open up our saw. You're going to hear a lot of panting there from Miss Maddie because she's running around as typically she does, like a crazy loon. There we go. Maddie, get back. You're in the way. She's a camera hog, huh? Alright, so here's our piece of oak. I'm going to have to cut a lot of this little stuff off here and clean this thing up. And I'll take you through the stages, because the next thing we're going to have to do is find somewhere to sit down and start stripping the bark off of this guy. And when we get the bark off of him, we'll sand him down. Well, we let him dry out first, and then we'll sand him down. Cut this piece off right here. All right. Cut this piece off. And I'll show you the startings of your walking stick. And then when you get here, we'll see if you like it. Okay. Put that back in the pack. I guess the easiest thing to do here is just lay her down. So there's your walking stick, the beginning of it. So it's longer than what it needs to be, but it's easier to take it shorter than to make it longer. So there, buddy. Alright, so I'll be back after a while and we'll start stripping the bark off of it. I'll send you a first clip that we're videoing right now, and you can see, okay? Back in a little bit. Alright, Maddie, get back. Thank you, baby. Alright, now, Whitney, we haven't gone over this, but we'll be going over this stuff when you get here this summer. But when you're using a knife and you're cutting and carving on things, you're always cutting away from your person. You can do it out in front like I'm doing here. You can do it over to the side to where you're doing it like this off to the side, but you're always cutting away from you. So that's what we're going to be doing here, is we're going to be stripping the bark off. And this is a great tool, this particular knife with the Scandi grind blade. It's a nice heavy bevel. It's not like my Sabre flat grind. But anyway, so we're going to be just stripping the bark off of this piece of wood, and we're going to do it all the way up full length of the wood. And so we're going to go ahead and just skim some more of this bark off of here. And what you can't feel is how heavy this piece of wood is. For a small piece of wood, it's pretty dense, so it's pretty heavy. And so when we're trimming that outer bark off of it, like we're doing here, it's going to allow this piece of wood to cure out. And in the curing process, it's going to dry. That's part of the curing process, primary part of the curing process, in fact. And as it dries, the less water, the less it weighs. So this thing is like cutting almost hot blade going through butter. Alright. So we're going to continue to come up this thing. Got to watch for the knots. When we get up here to this knot, we got to watch what we do carefully, because knots can actually damage the blade of your knife, particularly a pine knot. Those guys are hard. They're like rock. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and do this, and then I'm going to break away, and then when we come back, you'll actually see that we have the whole thing skinned out. Alright? Old Maddie's over in the woods. She's got something that she's found over there that she's really interested in. Here's one of these little knots I was telling you about. So when we get to them, we got to work them rather than try and plow through them. That way we don't damage the blade of our knife. Knots are not a knife's friend. And by the way, all these little pieces of bark, shavings that are coming off of this thing onto the ground, if we were spending a lot of time out in the wilderness, we'd actually want to pick those things up, because they make really good tinder. Kindling is what we'll do with this thing if we don't make it right. It'll become kindling. Anyway. Gotta work around this knot like I was saying earlier. Gonna turn it around and get the bottom part of the knot. Remember, we're cutting away from ourselves. That's why I turned it around. And get it all worked away from that knot. Remember, a knot's not your friend. Well, actually, it's not your knife's friend. If it's not your knife's friend, it's not your friend. unless you need a knot for a reason. You get a good pine knot, you can use it for a lot of different things. A hammer for being one, a hunting tool. You throw it and it hits its object, your prey, you got dinner. Never known one to be any good for fishing though. But if you cold cocked a fish with one, it would work just the same. Okay, we'll go back to our other way. Got around that big old knot. And here we go. Let's see if we can't go ahead and get this thing finished up before the mosquitoes get me. But you know what this reminds me of, Whit? And I doubt that you've had the experience yet, but I bet you your mama will let you take a crack at it. I know Sam's probably done what I'm getting ready to say many times in his life, but this is kind of like peeling a potato. It's a lot like peeling a potato. It's kind of that consistency, potato skin. Okay, coming off a potato. Okay, so we've done almost the entire length of it. There's the top end all the way down, and there's the bottom end. So all we got left is this piece right here. So we'll flip her over. It's a pretty straight piece, so we can start taking long strokes. And this will be done in just a couple of seconds here. And there we have it, buddy. I don't know, where did I put my scabbard? There it is. Put our blade up. All right, little buddy. That's what she looks like, little man. Give you a close-up for the handle. You can see when I was stripping it, if you pay attention, you'll look and see that the wood looked much wider than it does now. That was only about 20 minutes ago, Whit. And all of these dark spots on here, there, when it dries out and we varnish it, all of those streaks are going to become even more pronounced, and it's going to give it a really pretty look. So this is what we got. Now she's got to dry. That's going to take a couple of weeks for it to dry out real good. This thing probably weighs about 3 pounds right now, maybe 4. So all these dark areas, when we sand it out, those are going to be nice and smooth looking. It's going to pick up and it's going to become a grain in the wood, which is what that is. Kind of like when you peel an apple or a potato. After the air hits it, they start turning brown and curing out. Starting a rotting procedure is what it is. So there's your walking stick, little man. And to give you an idea, here's a walking stick that I made for me about a year ago. So you can see it's about the same length of the one I cut for you. They're the same length within maybe a half an inch. And you can see on the one I made for me, when it's finished, see how all the brown that's starting to come up on yours, being this one back here is yours, front one's mine, this one's still dull and dry looking. It's actually, you touch it, it feels like it's been hosed down with a hose. It's really wet. This is dry and this is light. This is much thicker than yours. you can see from the end. So it's twice the thickness, but it's about half the weight, if not less than that. I mean, this is really light. Oh yeah, it's at maybe 1/4 the weight of this one right now. But this one will be, yours will be lighter. Yours will be lighter. So we're gonna leave him in the window, let him get the light and the air and the sun, cure out, and it's gonna be a fine looking walking stick, little brother.